New York, New York, what's up, New York? Listen, we in New York, right? This is hip hop. This is hip hop.
What's going on, y'all? Mr. CEO here, and we have a real special guest in the building tonight. This queen right here is a true storyteller, a woman who's using her pen and her purpose to uplift the next generation. I'm talking about Miss Luz M. Mack. Luz was born in Villamella, Dominican Republic, and then she came to the States with her family, bringing that rich culture, the passion, the love for her roots right along with her family. She went on to earn her master's in public administration, but her true calling came through storytelling. She's a children's book author, a cultural educator, and a voice for empowerment, especially for our young kings and queens out there who don't always see themselves represented. Her inspiration hit home when her daughter asked to change her look to fit in. That moment took her back to her own childhood and sparked her mission to create stories that remind kids that they're perfect just the way they are. From the South Bronx to classrooms and book fairs across the country, Luz is spreading a message of confidence, culture, and self-love through her books and her movement. So crash the industry, family, and friends, show some love and make some noise for the incredible Luz M. Mack. How you doing?
Thank you so much.
Everything's good?
It's so good. That was such a beautiful intro. I felt like...
Well, we had the bio for a while, and I kind of like glanced over, and then we put everything together. So we got everything, you know.
I hope to live up to that.
So let's start
Yes.
from the beginning. When did you first realize storytelling was more than just a hobby and that it was part of your purpose?
Oof, that's a great question, because when I first started writing children's books, it was with the purpose to help my daughter feel seen in the pages of a book.
Okay.
But I really didn't take it seriously until I started going into the classroom and seeing how it wasn't only representing my daughter, it was representing a lot of other kids, a lot of other families that didn't feel included or represented in media and in books. So I started like seeing like the books that we have, or the books that become famous, quote unquote, because they make like the New York Times bestsellers list, all this stuff. It doesn't have like the beautiful nuance of the Bronx. It doesn't have the nuance of Dominican culture, of my tío like saying some piropo to some beautiful girl, or, you know, like the funny things that you hear growing up. So I wanted to capture that. So that's what made it become a little bit more serious. Like, our culture is actually one that not only represents beautiful things, but we've learned from it. We come from that rich, vibrant community, and everyone should feel part of it. So I wanted to make sure, like, to start writing, and I took so much, I want to say, like, inspiration from it. So our kids wanted to see that more and more, so I started writing more and more.
You know, this is like the third time I'm having the same conversation about underrepresentation in a city that is like a melting pot of cultures and nationalities. And I think with the school system, education system, I think they need to reach out to more authors like you and Asuma or Miss Tanisha Marie, who are doing these books or creating these books and these stories with children, and in the books the children look like them. You know, when I was growing up and I was reading books, none of the kids in the books looked like me. You know, I don't have freckles or blonde hair. So I think that is something that needs to be brought more into the city, especially a city like New York and the Bronx.
And you know what's crazy? In 2024, if you see like DOE, it has like the citations of like how far behind our kids are in literacy. It only affected Black and Latino kids. So I'm not stating having books that only talk about their culture is the solution, but it could help. Because if we're only focusing on the educational materials and tools that's available to them, it might not be enough. So we have so many kids that are still in this system needing to learn how to read and meet their criteria in order to continue and go on.
From what I've been learning and understanding about the school system, a lot of the criteria are already set low. So
Yes.
because the expectancy is they're not, if we put it at this, they're not going to meet that requirement anyway. So how about we just lower the standard anyway? And then they're
Yes.
not even performing well, because I think maybe the people who create the work for these kids should be people who understand them or come where they
Yes.
come from.
Listen, it was no surprise to me when I started being invited into schools and read to our kids when the kids had this experience to say, this is the first time I'm reading a book that represents my family, that represents something I understand. So to me, that was a clear message that either it was not only speaking to the kids, but it was needed in the classroom so they could actually talk about it and write about it and actually want to go on, because it's really hard being a kid and find like a book that you kind of like
Relate to
and think it's kind of cute and think it's kind of fun. So what I did was, if the book is not enough, I animated a lot of my books. So a lot of my books serve as like that other tool for the kids that aren't always like
Yes.
excited about reading. And then they see the animation and it has literacy. They could read and follow along.
That's dope.
And then if the book, the animation is not enough, there's online games that have like a learning tool.
So you put everything together.
I put everything together. And last quarter, I sent to over, I think, 3,000 emails to schools, sending them free curriculum guides, just so they have those tools available. To be honest, from those 3,000 emails, a very low number of schools reached out to me, but it was there for free because, to me, books are expensive. They're still a luxury. Like, I remember when Scholastic was coming to my school, and like I was so excited to give my mom like the little paper
Books
brochure.
back then were like $3.95.
Yeah, and my mom
$4.95.
was like, eso es plátano, arroz, habichuela, huevo frito. We weren't getting no Scholastics. So to me, like, I'm still thinking of like my inner child. So I want to make sure that kids that come from our community have books and they could see themselves. And if they can't afford the books, they could see it for free on YouTube.
Yes, and I'm glad you spoke about the inner child. So you came to the States and built a whole lane for yourself. What were some of the biggest challenges you faced early on getting your book seen and heard?
There were many, but I have to say, like, one of the biggest challenges is understanding the book industry as a whole. Because once you know that, yes, we are a minority, let's speak candidly, but like, imagine being an author of color, writing of your community, and then pitching to these publishers that don't even look like you. They think that you're very niche. So now you're really a minority. So when you see these individuals read your manuscripts and say, I don't think there's an audience for that. So every time I heard a no, I just kept going and heard a yes from my people. So this book got pitched over like 75 times to different publishers before it got picked up. This one even more. The way it got picked up, it was because of a Facebook post and an Instagram post. And a lot of my books have been self-published works, but it got featured on PBS and on other platforms.
Nice.
So when the industry said no, my husband and my kids kept pushing me to say, like, just put pen to paper, because we're saying yes.
That's what you have to do. You have to believe in yourself, and you sometimes a niche product is the most powerful product because it's centered and you know exactly who it's for, and you're not worried about anybody else. Anybody else picks it up, that's great, but it's really for the people who don't have that representation, like you said. So you write children's books that carry powerful cultural messages. What made you want to focus on kids specifically instead of writing for adults first?
It was like really trying to make sure I was doing the right thing at home for my daughters. I wanted them to like be inspired by the work. And since this started with my younger daughter, Chloe, like it kind of spread to make sure that each child has a book about them. So I wrote Pequeña Maria, Little Maria, like really trying to make sure Chloe felt loved and she understood what it was to be Dominican and what it meant for me being a Dominican. Although my daughter is not only Dominican, she's African American as well. I wanted to make sure I also wrote books that talked about that other culture, because that's part of our culture. Being Dominican is being Black as well, but also highlighting a lot of my husband's upbringing since he grew up here as an African American young man in the Bronx. So I wanted to make sure like all my books touch on our family stories for my kids. I do feel like I do want to grow up. I do want to write more books that are not children's books. So I've been thinking about taking some time and focusing on a memoir.
Got you. But being that you said you started writing for each of your daughters, the moment when your daughter was asking to change her appearance, how did that spark become a full movement for self-love and representation in your stories?
So I feel like it's like almost like like when it starts raining, it just starts little by little, and it doesn't happen all at once when the rain comes pouring down. I saw that moment, and it really hit me, seeing Chloe cry, seeing Chloe like being upset, not feeling beautiful. Like it just hit me so much. And then trying to make her feel beautiful, it wasn't a one-day thing or it happened overnight. Like I remember doing storytelling with her and Andrea, like taking her into the bedroom before they went to sleep and talking about our family. So that's how it really started. It wasn't like, there was no books. It was just a mom talking to her daughters, right?
Okay.
And then it evolved into putting it down
On paper.
and making sure there was a book to it.
That's beautiful. Like even at home, like a few weeks ago, I did something I normally would never do with any of my kids. My daughter said, I want to put purple extensions in my hair. And I'm like, your hair is long. Like, she was like, I just want to do it. And her mother looked at me like, it's all on you. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And then I let her do it. And then she come home and she's like, this boy said my head looked like grandma's Twizzlers. I had to laugh. I was
That's
like,
hilarious.
I was like, damn, that was good.
That was good.
He was good. I said, well, you just gotta crack jokes back. You gotta take that. I said, that's why I crack jokes all day long in here. So I understand when, with girls though, her mother was like, with girls, you gotta understand their hair, their look it's more to them than.
Yes.
So I was like, I gotta take that into consideration. So when I heard the part about your daughter saying, she wanted to change her appearance, I understood that very well because my daughter, Daenerys, she's always worried about her hair now. Like,
Yeah.
It's her hair's a thing. She argues with her mom, I don't want my hair like this. So the mornings are crazy sometimes, depending on how she wakes up and how she wants her hair done. So I do understand the appearance thing.
I do want to add, at the time, Chloe was like 3 or 4 when she wanted to be blonde, and she was in a private school, and she was the only half black, half Dominican child in that nursery room. Now, seeing that she stood out and all her friends had beautiful, different color skin, I'm not gonna say the dominant culture because it doesn't matter. Like she stood out and all of them had either beautiful blonde hair or straight hair, not a lot of curly hair or coarse hair like hers. I had to make her feel that whether she was the only one or one of many, that she was beautiful. And it takes, that's why I said it's almost like when it starts to rain. You can't do that like overnight. You have to do it all the time. And she's 14 now. Well, I'm sorry, she just turned 15, good Lord. And she's been driving me crazy. So that beauty part, it still happens. It doesn't stop.
It becomes a bigger monster.
It's a different monster now, because now, there's times that self-worth, you have to like nurture it in a different way. Like we still have books as like a learning tool, but also letting her just have her bad moments too.
So a few minutes ago, you said that before you even put anything down on paper,
Yeah.
It started with just conversations with your kids.
Conversations.
So every author has a process. When you sit down to write, what does that creative zone look like for you? Is there music, silence, late nights, early mornings? What is your process to create these books for children?
To be honest, the process for each book is a little bit unique, and I'll tell you why. Because when I did Pequeña Maria, Little Maria, it all started because of Chloe, and it was through conversations, and then I wrote it down. But like, for example, this book, I had a dream with my grandmother, and in the dream, I dreamt that I was a little boy playing and dancing with my grandmother. The next day, I woke up and I wrote it all as a poem, and that's what it became, this book. Each book is different, uniquely different. And this book, Bachatica, I wanted to capture the joy of bachata music. It took almost a year, just like like weeding out the words, making sure wordsmithing everything to make sure it captured the joy of Dominican culture through dance. But each book is so different. The process, I can't say, is not like I wake up early in the morning and just think about it. Some things just come to me in a way that's unique, or I dream about it, or sometimes I have a very, very intentional thing in mind.
Gotcha.
I hope that makes
That makes a lot of sense.
A lot of sense. Like I could give you another example. My daughter Andrea, she is ADHD and bipolar, and for years teachers had asked me, "Are you going to create something or a book that talks about that?" It took me years in order to put that book together, and the reason it took me so long because I want it to be genuine. I want it to be friendly. Because all my books, although they're very specific and rooted in our culture, I like for it to welcome everyone.
Gotcha.
So that's what I wanted. Because although it doesn't only talk about Andrea's ADHD, it talks in a fun way, in a very kid way, the message of like what it is to have that, you know?
Okay. And we briefly spoke about this earlier, about your books and you pitching them and not getting picked up and finally getting picked up. The book game and the music game got
It's
some
the same.
overlap. Both are about ownership and distribution.
Mm-hmm.
How important is it to stay independent as an author?
Oof, I'm gonna tell you something that I was talking to an author friend that I really like. I admire the work he does because he stood independent, and his work, La Borinquera, I don't know if you heard, he does comic books. I believe, I'm sorry, his name is...
He was at Sumas.
Yeah, he was at Sumas, but what he said was, I stuck to my guns and I wanted to be independent, but his work is compared to Marvel, and it's even in those categories.
And his son also did a book as well.
Yeah, as well. Like, and my son did a book too, so we were just talking and sharing receipts. But what we notice is when you have one book that's traditionally published, right, it actually raises the visibility for all your other works that are self-published. And it kind of, it helps. But the thing about it is you have to compete to be with those traditional publishers. You have to, because it helps with if you want to get an award, if you want to be in a certain list. I'm not saying it's not everything. It's not, because there's many self-published authors that did very, very good for themselves, and they don't have to compete, and they could stay
in their lane.
In their lane and enjoy their lane. But I still think we have to try, because
Gotcha.
you know, it's not too many of us doing this.
Got you. It's always about ownership when I talk to people. I love the ownership. Sometimes you might have to give up one project to get those other pieces that
Exactly.
you own to the next level. So we do this thing on Crash the Industry. If you can, and you're speaking to a younger person who wants to get in your field, how would you give them advice into breaking or crashing into the industry of book writing?
Oh my gosh. I do this almost every day. I have a lot of people either DM or send me messages. How do I write my children's book? I always tell them, I know you don't want to do this. I know it sounds silly. Go on YouTube and start researching how to write my children's book. You'll see a bunch of information on it. If that doesn't call for you, I myself put like videos on how to do YouTube, like how to do a children's book through YouTube or other video classes, because I believe everyone could do this art. This is not just, you know, something that's unique to me. Everyone could tell their story in their own true way. But there's a craft and there's an art. You have to understand, if you're going to write a children's book, what's the age group are you going to concentrate? Is it for like the little babies?
What's the demographic?
Yeah, like is it for older kids? Is it for tweens? You know, like, because those are all different types of books, you know, like if you're concentrating on the little ones, those books are under 100 words. If you're concentrating on 7-year-olds or 8 years old, that's over 500 words. So you have to think about that. And your message has to be within that specific guideline.
Got to stay on track.
Yeah, and then you have to see how it is working with people. One of the things about writing a children's book that is so much like having a job is like, have you ever have to write like rules on, I don't know, how to do a podcast, right? If you write a podcast rule book, you understand it because this is, you have crashed the industry. Like, you have to book your guests, you have to do this. It's the same, reverse it with children's book.
But I have more rules because
Yeah.
I'm on TV, so it's
Yeah.
SEC rules we got to
Yeah,
abide by.
that's true. But like you see,
Yeah.
like there's a rule and guideline. The same thing with children's books.
Gotcha.
What is the message? Stay with one message. Do not
Mm-hmm.
put too many messages, because then it's not a children's book. It's a memoir or it's a
Gotcha.
novel and things like that. So things like that. I think the biggest message I could tell them is to check out free resources that are available to them. Even the public library teaches a lot about how to
So
self-publish.
YouTube and a public library.
Yeah.
And that was another episode of Crash the Industry with the amazing Luz Mack and all of her books. So if you get a chance, check these books out, give them to your kids, give them to your nieces, give them to your nephews. Crash the Industry.
I'm gonna leave a couple for you. I can't leave them all.
No, don't worry about it.
Yeah.
We all know what it's like to feel alone. But it just takes one new connection.
Want to get out of here?
To empower many.
This is unbelievable.
It doesn't take a superhero to bring forces together. We all have the power to reach out
Let's go!
and help someone feel like they belong.
Pretty cool, huh?
We are stronger together.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day, I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect, but they're perfect for me.
What's going on, Crash the Industry fans and family? We back and we have somebody very special in the building tonight. A man who's out here changing lives, building leaders and helping people break through every doubt that they ever tried to hold them back. Straight out of the Bronx, New York, Otis D Gore is a multifaceted leader, certified speaker, mentor, author, and realtor who's mastered the art of personal growth and self-improvement. He's the author of a powerful self-help book, The Audacity of Doubt, a guide that digs deep into the real psychology behind fear and imposter syndrome, something I talk about all the time, and self-limiting beliefs. But more importantly, it shows you how to rise above them. Through his writing, his speeches, and his mentorship, Otis helps people tap into their confidence, discipline, and purpose, because he truly believes we all have the ability to level up and create positive change in our own lives and our community. He shared his message with organizations like Narib and NYC Public Schools. And everywhere he goes, people walk away feeling motivated, centered, and ready to take action. So tonight, let's give a big Crash the Industry welcome to the man who embodies leadership, growth, and transformation. Make some noise for Otis D Gore. What's going on,
How
my
you
brother?
doing, man? Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me.
This book looks great. This looks great.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
That is a self-help book that I would actually purchase.
Thank you. Absolutely. I got one for you. I'm going to sign it for you, too.
Oh, we're gonna do that on camera because we don't know if
Yeah,
it's a legit one.
exactly.
You know, I'll put that up on auction and buy another one.
There you go. Hey. There you go.
So
man.
let's start right here in the Bronx. Who is Otis D Gore before the book, before the speaking gigs, and what shaped your mindset coming up?
So Otis D Gore is of the Bronx. I grew up on Fordham Road and Decatur Avenue. And, you know, when I was growing up in the Bronx, it was a different Bronx than what you see now. You know, they had a term back then they called the Bronx is burning, because it literally was burning. You know, when I was growing up, they had a lot of abandoned buildings and open lots and everything. So there was really not a lot of hope. However, you know, as long as you have the right foundation, then we could basically push through all of that to really become who we want to become. And I had to do that. You know, for me, as I came up, right, and I was always this guy or this person that people just saw leadership in, or they wanted me to help them with something. I don't know why they chose me, but they did. And I always figured to myself, you know what, I think one day as I get older, I think I want to be in the realm of helping people. You know, but first I'd have to make sure that I'm correct and make sure that I'm going to go up there and become something that someone can aspire to, and then I can inspire others to push through their limiting beliefs as well. Because in our community, there's a lot of limited beliefs.
Yes,
There's
absolutely.
there's a lot of people that don't believe that there's nothing past where they are now. You know, we all grow up in a time where there is no hope. We feel like there's limiting things that we can do or what's available to us. However, what we don't realize is that up here we can go anywhere we want.
You have to be inspired. So what inspired the audacity of doubt? Was there a specific moment in your life that made you say, "Nah, I got to write this book"?
Yeah, so you know, it's funny because as you know, as you said before, I'm also a real estate broker, right? I've been in sales all my life, and the funny thing is that most of the sales reps that I manage or supervise or train, you know, I would have conversations with them, and the conversation was kind of the same in regards to, you know, what kind of salesman they can be, or can they really do the job, or you know, they had a lot of doubt that they can actually become something more, you know, than that salesman. So I told them, listen, I said, if you're gonna allow your fear and doubt to stop you right away, then what you're gonna do is you're gonna stop yourself in the tracks. I was just telling somebody the other day that when people stand in their own way, what they don't realize, what they see is they see themselves, as they're looking ahead and they're trying to foresee themselves. It's like they're looking at the back of themselves. They're looking at the back. If you're looking ahead, you see the back of yourself and you're trying to look over your shoulder, look over your shoulder. You know, it's a whole process of standing in your own way. And we all do that without even realizing it.
Yes, like it spoke about the imposter syndrome.
Yes.
That is something that's very important, because there were times that I felt like, nah, I shouldn't charge what I do because I need more time. And then you don't realize that when you're doing what you do, you put your 10,000 hours in without realizing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, hold on, wait, I really got to start. I'm good at what I do. I'm really good at what I do. Yeah. So like, what is your thoughts on how to get over that imposter syndrome?
So it's really about like what's the value? Like what holds value to you? All right. So a lot of people get this imposter syndrome feeling because they don't feel like a sense of belonging. You know, they may be in a room or they may come across an opportunity that they probably wasn't going for, and they feel like, oh, did I deserve this? Like, what made me come here? But what people don't realize is what you're going for in your life, all right, the universe is actually giving you the energy to do it as long as you are willing to grind for it.
Absolutely.
Right? The funny thing about the universe is that the human being is the greatest creation in the universe. And people don't realize that. You know, a lion can only be a lion. A tiger could be a tiger. A giraffe could be a giraffe. But a human being can adapt and become what they truly believe that they can become.
Absolutely.
You know, a human being is the greatest creation in the universe. And as you start to go along and try to fight for what you want in your life and try to really grind and you find something that you really want to do, the universe will start slowly but surely putting things in place or putting people in your life that could possibly take you to where you really want to go. Not where you believe you can go, but where you truly believe you can go.
Confirmation of affirmation.
Exactly. You know, it's like we all have a lot of things that we deal with every single day. You know, we all have things out our lives, and we kind of got these messes that we're kind of cleaning up, you know, or we're going through something, right? But people don't know that there's a saying that says your mess, once you clean up your mess, becomes your message. All right, so once you clean that up, now you have a message. Now you have something that you can. So you can't have a testimony before being tested, right?
Absolutely.
So before you can even go on and try to show someone and bring somebody to the forefront or try to help them move, you have to go through that. You have to bend through that so that you could tell them, listen, I've done this. Here's what I did. Maybe this will help you.
Or maybe,
and that's what made me write the book.
What might have worked for me might not work for you, but what didn't work for me might work for you.
Yes,
like you said,
I can tell you my story, and hopefully my story can influence you to make your story.
Got you. So the title itself, The Audacity of Doubt.
Yes.
What does that phrase mean to you personally?
So the audacity of doubt stands for, you know, obviously the audacity or the nerve of the feeling or the emotion to always try to stop you every time you want to do something. You know, anytime you want to push forward and say, you know what, I think I would like to do that. Here comes the fear, here comes the doubt. And a lot of us succumb to that right away.
Self-sabotage.
We just stop, right? There's a portion of the book called Living in Your Settlement, right? Because when I say living in your settlement, it means that life might provide you with, you might have a job as a MTA or cop or whatever. Those are all great. But what is it that you really wanted to do? All right, because you got to understand, a lot of us are enabled, right? We get enabled from success, or we get enabled from things that we have. Like if you get a good job, you got food on the table, you got a nice car, you got a little house, but what is it that you really wanted to do in your life? Are you really fulfilled? I don't think anybody is really 100% happy in their life unless they is 100% who they are as a person, and they're doing exactly what it is they want. But most of us are not doing exactly what we want. We're just settling for whatever was provided, and there we go.
You know what's funny is you said something just now, like you can have being enabled by a good career.
Yes.
And you know, before I got into my career, I always told my wife, like before I got into my career, I thrived in chaos. No matter what was going on around me, I was able to just rise above it and do better. And that's how I went from being a person involved in the streets to having a career that bought us a home and took us out the hood and all of that.
Yeah.
So thriving in chaos is not always good, but sometimes if you can manage it, you're not so comfortable.
Right, exactly, and that's what it is. See, when you know, complacency, right? People get complacent easily. Like in the word, I always tell people, easy is a breeding ground for complacency. All right, when things are easy and you're kind of settled, that automatically kind of enables you from really thinking, you know something, I could have did that. I really could have did that, but you didn't do it because your life you ain't struggling enough. You didn't struggle too much. If you struggle, the people who really get that green, that crap, they struggle a lot. How many times you heard the stories of I lived in the street or I ate out the trash cans? But you see, they had a dream. They had something that they were going for. You know, and I said this before. I did a talk last week downtown. I said, you are either going to be intrigued by something in your life, you're either going to believe you could do something, or you're going to truly believe. There's a difference between the three. A lot of us are intrigued with a lot of stuff. You know, a lot of us say, oh, that's cool, I like that, I like that, I like that, boom, but are we going to take a step?
Do you love it?
Do you love it? Yeah. Then you might say something, you know what, I believe I could do that. And then you'll find that, and you'll do it for a moment. Once you hear the adversity, then here it goes. It gets harder, and now you're going to make a decision. Oh, okay, I think I went far enough. I don't know if I want that. But then you find that one rare thing, that one thing in your life that you're going to say, I don't care what nobody tell me.
I'm doing this.
I'm doing this. Les Brown said it best. You knock me down, I look up, I see the ceiling, I get up. That's that one thing. I think people, right, who have the courage to be who they are, exactly who they are, and do exactly what they want without, they don't care about what nobody say. I think those people that are living the lives, their best lives that truly believe in.
I just want to say, just conversing with you right now, you talk with great energy. It's very motivational. I'm not even...
Thank you so much.
So you've spoken for organizations like NAREEB and NYC Public Schools. What messages do you try to leave behind when you speak to different audiences?
Well, it's funny because when I talk to the youth, right, as I'm talking to them and I'm looking at them directly, I can look in their eyes to see that they want some sort of direction. I can look in their eyes to see that, hey, no one normally talks to me that way, or I don't normally hear that message. So my message tries to get across to them for them to become what they truly believe, because there's a point in a teenager's life when you're 10, 15, 20, you're very impressionable. You're still figuring things out. You know, so I try to hit them with a message that's going to help them, guide them through that. Then you have your adults who are kind of in the middle of their lives. They might be like, you know what, I'm okay, but I really wish I was doing something else. That message is different.
Okay.
Right, and then you got the older people who are older who actually are established, doing something, but you could be established, but it don't mean that you're totally 100% happy. But it just so happens that this is what you're doing and you're okay, like we talked about before. It's not okay to be okay. You want to be ecstatic. You want to wake up every day and say, hey, I can't wait to get into my world. You know, just like we talked about, I'm independent because I don't want no shackles. I don't want to chain. That's why I started my publishing company, The Killer Press, to put the book out myself, because I needed the control over the art. I needed to, even when I did the editorial on the book, you know, there was, you know, an editorial, I hired an editor, and they was even giving me some word. They wanted to change the name of the book and all that. But like you said, I stuck to my guns. I was like, no, I'm not changing the name of the book. They ain't even want my picture in the front. How could you not want that picture?
You gotta sell yourself. You know, my wife is she's like heavy into marketing. She's like, her ideas are amazing, and she was like, you know, when you have certain products, sometimes it's good to be the face of your own product.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because who's gonna sell you better than you?
Absolutely.
Especially if it's your words.
Especially if your words, exactly. And it's just like when someone asked me one time, they said, Otis, they said, how do you come up with your stories? I said, the best stories are your own stories. I can't tell nobody else's story. I can only tell mine. Right? And if I try to go up on stage and I'm trying to inspire you, I don't like to say motivate, which is fine, because motivation is like a noun thing. Right? And the motivation is that moment. And then when you leave that moment, what happens? Are you still going to be motivated? So I'd rather you be inspired. I try to inspire because when you're inspired by something, it sticks with you. And you go and you think about it and you say, you know what, that inspired me. So it's going to make me push to even go further. Right, but the most important conversations, the most important thing that a person can have for themselves is with themselves, right? There's this effect that I said before. And when you wake up in the morning, right, do you wake up with an attitude of gratitude, right? So I tell people, and I said this before on one of the other shows, that, you know, there's this thing called mirror work, right? You ever heard someone say, let's do some mirror work?
No.
So mirror work is important.
I avoided therapy, just so you know.
No, that's not. So mirror work is very important because when you got mirror work, right, you wake up in the morning, you look in the mirror, and you see your reflection looking back at you, and your eyes are baggy, and you're like, oh, I look tired. Fine, I know I do that. But what you got to do is this. You got to wake up in the morning, you got to look in the mirror, you got to train your brain to see two things. You got to train your brain to see the image that you see here, and then you got to train your brain to actually see the reflection. So there's an image and a reflection. So the reflection is what you act, that's your life. That's what you see in the mirror. But the image is something how you perceive yourself, how you're going to be or how you want to be. And you got to be able to see both.
Gotcha.
You got to be able to see both because most of us just see the reflection and we just settle. When someone wants to lose weight or get in shape or change their hair color, right? They look and the first thing they do, they look at their hair. Oh man, I think I'm as good as a blonde. But then they start thinking, when they see the reflection, now they're thinking of the image. How would I look like this? How would I look like this? Now here's the key. You might figure out in your mind, this is what I want, but do you really want it? What are you going to do to obtain it?
What are you going to do to obtain it?
Because people don't understand the funny thing about success, right? Success is all around us. It's all around us, like right now, but it's just waiting for us to grind enough to display the success. It's here. It's right there. It's standing next to me. It's here next to you and to everybody. But how much are you going to grind to display it?
Got you. So when you talk about grinding to see the success around you, let me ask you a question. When you look at today's generation, especially the young men and women trying to find direction,
Right.
What's the biggest mindset block you see holding people back?
I think right now we live in unfortunately, the microwave society. Everybody wants it now. They want instant now, right? I think social media, the internet, it's a gift and a curse. These kids are growing up with their phones in their hand. They want when I was growing up, I had to get information. I had to literally get up and go to the library. So there was an effort to do that. So I had to get up and go to the library. I had to go and buy a newspaper. When I used to take the train, people were reading books and newspapers. Now, if I want to find something, I just Google it. So what it does is the youth today, it shortens your attention span. All right, you know how many times I have this book, right? And they'd be like, you got an audio book? So they want to be able to listen to it while distracted, because that's what an audiobook does for me. As I'm listening, they want to be able to listen to it and multitask. But are you really getting the full effect
Are you absorbing?
of the information? You know, so that's what I feel like today. Yes, don't get me wrong, social media is great and everything, but I think that what it does, it skews the membrane sometimes. It skews it. Because now, if you want the information, if it's not there quick enough, then you just move on from it.
Gotcha.
Because everything is like right there. They want it now. If I can Google right now, you say Google Otis D Gore. Who's Otis D Gore? Google, oh, he's this, just like that. If I wanted to know before, I would have to get up and go to the store. Like there was an anticipation. We talk about music. You know, I'm from like the 80s or Michael Jackson or that. There was an anticipation to a build up to a record.
And you had to go out
And you
to
had
Tower
to
Records
go out
and
to
go
the
buy
record.
it.
You couldn't wait for it. And then the only time when you saw them like on America Bandstand or Soul Train, these shows like this.
Gotcha.
Now it's like, well, let me see. Let me look on YouTube. Oh, there you go. Okay, cool.
I got to get my kids off the phone. So you're not just a speaker, you're also a realtor and mentor. How do
Yes.
you connect the business world with the world of personal development?
Well, so as you said, right, the thing that's funny to me is that when I do train the realtors, right, and I talk about doubt to them, I call doubt the greatest salesman in the world. Because what doubt does is it gets up every day and it gets in all of our minds to try to sell us on the fact that we ain't good enough, to try to sell us on the fact that we can't do what it is we believe we could do. That's what doubt does. It stops you right in your track. So I equate the both together because most salesmen have doubts. They don't believe that they can sell a house, or they don't believe that they can go out there and sell the executives to try to get them to buy the product, because most people in sales, they hear more no's than yeses. And that's what you're going to hear regardless. That's in life.
Yes,
You're going to hear more no's than yeses. You know, and so I remember one time I saw and I said, Otis, what if they tell me no? Who's gonna tell me no? I said, I'll tell you what happens. When they say no, you know what you tell them? Next. Just keep going,
Keep it
next. Don't take it
You got to play the
personal.
numbers game sometimes.
Just keep on going. That's you got to make 100 phone calls for you probably get maybe 5 connects.
Got you.
But the whole key is to be disciplined and to do it.
So in your workshops, you mentioned this thing like the power of micro habits and embracing vulnerability.
Yes.
How have those principles changed your life?
So habits is very important. See, people talk about your future, right? But it's your habits that actually create the future. All right. So what is it that you're doing every day to get closer to what you really want, right? Last week, right, I did this talk and I talked about the word magic.
Okay.
Right. So I told people, I said, listen, I think that every human being is magic because sometimes what you got to do with your life is you got to disappear. You got to fall back. You got to step back and disconnect from everybody and everything around you for however long you need. And then you come back with fire. Then you come back ready because sometimes you have to see what's going on in your life. You don't know. There's so much that's going on. You just going, and you miss things. But how many times I see people, oh my God, my daughter was 10, now she's 15. I'm like, well, where'd the time go? You know, so when I say magic, I mean sometimes you got to just disappear. You disappear, you fall back, you do a discontinuous, and you look around you and you see what's going on. And then you come back with a higher perspective. Because if your perspective in your life is not as high as you want it to be, then that perspective can actually, you know, oppose your own potential. And as we know about the perspective opposing your potential, that the potential is what's the most in the graveyard. The most potential in the world is in the graveyard. Because most of us go to the grave without even reaching the full potential.
Got you.
And that's a fact.
So normally I do this thing before we end the segment. I ask people, you know, what would you tell a younger person trying to crash your industry? Being that you're in multiple industries, how could they use micro habits to get themselves to your level of success?
So the thing here is this. I tell people all the time, number one, first figure out exactly that's what you want. Does that thing that you're shooting for hold enough value for you to go out there and do it every day, eat, drink, and sleep it? You're gonna do it for free until you get paid for it. Because remember, if you do something good enough, someone's gonna be willing to pay you for it. All right? So you gotta figure out what that is. There's so much that's coming at the young kids right now. You figure that one thing out, maybe 1 or 2 things out, and then now you're gonna just go for it. You gotta do your research on it. What does it take? You gotta be around it. I like to call it touch your dream, right? I tell people to touch their dream, like let's say, for example, crash the industry, right? You want to, hopefully this show can be a big television show one day and you're gonna be on network and all that. So what you're doing is you're starting now because you're actually touching the dream. You're seeing what's going on right now. You know, when someone wants to be a lawyer, they go to law school, but they might work in a law firm as a paralegal, not getting paid, but they're around it. You got to be around. You got to touch the dream. If you're really serious about something that you want to do in your life, no matter what nobody tell you, you're going to do it. It's going to hold everything. Nobody fights for what don't value to them. If there's enough value, you're going to do it. No one have to tell you nothing. You're just going to do it.
That right there was another segment of Crash the Industry with Otis D Gore. Make sure you guys go get your copy of The Audacity of Doubt.
On Amazon, yes.
My brother, appreciate you.
My brother, thank you, my man, appreciate it. That was a good intro, too. I was wondering who you was talking about.
You know, you said something that I really did like, because my friend has a saying.
I'm an ex-drug dealer, and I'll be your sub today. Can you see anything different as a pill?
No.
You don't know?
Fentanyl is being mixed into everything now. There's only one thing that will save somebody's life. That is naloxone nasal spray.
Fentanyl, it's cheap, it's potent, and it's profitable.
Why would drug dealers put a lethal dose of fentanyl in drugs if they know it's so harmful?
Really just all about the money.
I just didn't realize that one pill could change your whole life.
More kitchen now.
What's going on, y'all? Mr. CEO here, and you know what time it is. This is Crash the Industry, where we shine the light on the ones who put the real work in, the ones building their legacy from the ground up. And today, we got a Bronx representative in the building, a real one, somebody whose hustle, sound, and energy can't be duplicated. She's been putting in work from the BX to Atlanta, Texas, and Ohio, touching real stages, real crowds, real people, and leaving her mark every time. You might have caught a single Big Mad on Hot 97 with DJ Drewski. He gave that the official spin. Or maybe you heard her and Nimrod go crazy on their joint project Dynamic Duo. Now, as the First Lady of Federal District Records, backed by a new deal with Sony Music, she's leveling up in every way possible. She's a writer, a performer, a creator, and she's bringing that joy and fun and energy back to hip-hop. From Molly McCoy to Molly Federal, the name changed, but the bar stayed heavy. So Crash the Industry family, let's show some love and welcome a powerhouse, a true Bronx artist, the one and only Molly Federal. What's going on, sweetie? How you doing? This was supposed to happen a while ago.
Yes.
I know, but
long time coming.
I know. We ran into you at the Maury Hayes video shoot.
Yes.
And then we was like, yo, Nim, what we doing?
Yep, we locked it in.
So let's start from the top. What was the journey like before Federal District Records? What kind of obstacles did you have to overcome to get to this level?
I actually did a lot. I performed at a lot of places, as you said. Like my very first time ever performing was in Atlanta.
Okay.
I did the A3C festival.
Okay.
And then I did South by Southwest. I performed at a little, upcoming shows.
So you was already hustling
Coast to
and grinding.
Coast. I did all of that stuff.
Coast to Coast is my guys.
Yeah, I won. I was third place, but I won.
Well, that's still, you're in the top 3.
Yeah.
So now that you're officially with Federal District Records, how has that partnership changed your approach to music and the way you move as an artist now?
I'm not gonna lie, like Nim, he gives me like a different vibe too. Like he always told me like think outside the box, and and don't worry about what everybody else think or what everybody else is doing, and stick to what I do and what I know.
You gotta make music for yourself.
Yeah, so that's basically what it is. Like, cause sometimes I get like a little bit stuck on thinking like you wanna be with right now, but sometimes like just stick with what you got. Like, and what I got is real hip hop. That cannot, like
sometimes
you said,
right now ain't forever.
Thank you, and that's what I got is forever.
Got you. So you rebranded from Molly McCoy to Molly Federal.
Yeah.
What does the name and identity represent for you today?
Well, it's showing the boss up, the growth. Cause I guess it's giving me like I'm First Lady.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm First Lady of Federal, so I got that stamp now. Before without the team that I was working with, I didn't have that.
Okay.
But
now you got that.
Yes, that was
got
just
you.
like.
So take us into the moment when you turned on the radio and you heard Big Mad playing on Hot 97. What went through your mind?
I was going crazy. First of all, the way it happened was Drewski posted on Instagram, and I was under his comments, and I was like, oh, Drewski, you should play Big Mad on Hot 97, and he hit me in my DM and was like, send it to my email. I sent it to him, and then he wrote me, I think it was that Friday, because he played it on a Sunday. So he wrote me on that Friday and was like, make sure you listen to the radio on Sunday, I'm gonna play Big Mad.
Oh, nice. Shout
Straight
out to
like
Drewski. Shout out to Drewski. He's for the people as well.
Yeah, so shout out to DJ Drewski.
You've been on big stages, SOBs, Texas, Atlanta, Ohio. What performance stands out as one that really defines who Molly Federal is?
I got a song called Molly Time.
Okay.
And I never really put that out. I literally like perform it a lot though. And Molly Time literally is self-explanatory.
Got
It
you.
speaks on exactly who Molly is, and even like speaks on like Molly going from Molly McCoy to Molly Federal as well. So.
Okay, understood. So you've collaborated with Nimrod multiple times, including the Dynamic Duo. What's the creative chemistry like in the studio, and what makes the partnership special there?
Oh man, that's why the name was like so perfect for us, because it's like we really are a dynamic duo. It's like that's like my right hand. If you see them, you see me. So, and then like that's how we work when we in the studio as well. Like, and he rubs off on me, I rub off on him, and
so it's back and forth. It's the energy, the synergy is there.
yes.
Perfect. So the music business can be tough, especially for independent artists. How serious do you take the business side of your career, and are you hands-on with all the moves in your brand and the marketing?
I take it like real serious, but you know that this is why I love like where I'm at with my team, because we have people in positions to do everything for the artist, so it leaves the artist to be the artist. You know, so
that's really important.
Yeah, and then they don't take away from the business as well, because we have meetings every week with the label and stuff. So they talk to us about what we need, and they let us know what they've done. They ask us if that's what we want to do, not want to do, you know what I mean? So it's not like they leave us out on anything either, but they still give us that, you know, that time to be the artist.
Yeah, I spoke to them before about it. He was like, you know, they do everything. It's a full-fledged label. They really help you with everything. So you wear multiple hats, artist, songwriter, and even hairstylist. How do you balance your creative side with your business side?
Oh, I just do it. I do it. I'm a mom too, so I do it. I make sure my son is in school. I make sure that I'm writing. I can do freestyles every week. Every Friday, I have to have a freestyle done. Federal on numbers that I had.
Got you.
And I get it done.
So basically, that was my next question. What's one lesson you've learned since joining Federal District Records, and that you wish you knew when you first started?
One thing I can say that I wish I knew when I first started with Federal is that there is really people that will help you. Like that there is really people, like I said, like everybody has a position in our label. I never had that.
Yeah.
I had to do it all myself.
So now you have the help that you really needed. And there are people who are willing to help you. Like, we were up like 1 o'clock in the morning, my wife and our producer sends us a beat, and I text Nimrod, yo, I got a smoker for Molly. But I was drinking a little bit, so that didn't come out the way I was supposed to say it. But we do have a beat that we're gonna send Nimrod for you. Summertime is crazy. And I was like, yo, this is gonna be a hit for Molly. So your energy and confidence stand out. Where do you pull that from when it's time to perform and step in front of the camera?
It's just me. Like, that's why my name is Molly. Like, I never popped a pill in my life. But all my friends always told me that I always give that energy. Like, I don't even have to be on no liquor, no nothing. Like, this is just me. So that's why I named myself Molly. Like, I am the drug.
Got you. So you give them that energy.
Yes.
So with the new Sony deal in place and your album in the works, what can fans expect from this next phase of Molly Federal?
Oh my goodness, just expect to see a lot of me. Like, I'm gonna be everywhere. I'm working and I'm not gonna stop. The album is coming out in November. It's called Hood Mommy. It's crazy. I got like a bunch of features on there. And
you almost done with it?
I'm actually going to the studio right after this.
I know, he told me. He was like, we gotta get up out of there. And finally, Crash the Industry is all about elevation and evolution. If you could give one message to the up-and-coming artists trying to build their name and brand, what would Molly tell them?
I would honestly say just stay consistent. Like, if this is something that you really want to do, stay consistent. Don't let nobody tell you that you can't do it.
Got you. And stay out the way.
And stay out the way. Oh, I say that a lot.
Because you gotta be outside right now, and we all see what just happened. Cardi B was outside, and it drove the industry upside down. These women are coming out her neck left and right. So.
But that means she did right. She did right.
She did it right.
That's all that means.
Honestly, I don't know that one from a hole in the wall, and that made me proud of her, how hard she worked while she was pregnant. And I'll be looking at artists who's not pregnant and won't do half the work she do.
Lazy.
So, Molly, I look forward to the performance.
Yes.
And I appreciate you stopping by.
Thank you.
And
I'm glad I made it here.
And then after this, go kill it in the studio.
Yes.
And don't forget to remind me to send that to Nimrod.
Okay.
Crash the Industry.
How do you know when you've made the right decision? It's the feeling you get in your gut. The one that tells you what's right or wrong. It's the one that says,
Sure, I can have a drink. Or the feeling that says, okay, I've been drinking. Now what? It's the voice inside you that says, I'm buzzed. Better leave the car when it's time to go. Plan ahead. Catch a sober ride. Buzz driving is drunk driving.
When I was in foster care, I never knew when I would have to move. So I always had my suitcase ready to go. Then one day I was adopted. My new parents opened their hearts and home to me. My parents cook my favorite breakfast for me every morning. My parents take me on trips I never thought I would go on. They gave me a home and an even better reason to use that suitcase. My parents aren't perfect.
It's like they love me, but they hate me, but they love me.
They can't stand me, say that for your mammy. Should've never birthed you, hoes, should've took a plan back. Shots to you, don't leave you underwater like Sandy. Make them live a hard knock life and call them Andy. Been the problem that none of these solving. Made it to the top, ain't going back to the bottom. To all my real ones that was there, I swear I got them. Eyes on the fake, that's why I don't be around them. This right here is for the motherfuckers that doubt it. If the gang in the spot, just know it's about to get crowded. If the money ain't involved, just know that they never counted, never gave a and I'm in it the way that sounded better. Lay low, these bullets unstable. Two to your head, another under the table. Cut these bitches off, they forgot to pay the cable. Embarrass you on the net, what you rap is a fable. Hood mommy still a classy. Work hard, yeah, I be on my everything coming to me, I deserve that. Keep it cute, but you know I'm still a nasty. Hood mommy still a classy. Work hard, yeah, I be on my everything coming to me, I deserve that. Keep it cute, but you know I'm still a nasty. Getting tired of the same old shit. Always lying, whack, still on my. I stay out of the way, won't catch me in the mix. Who your top 5 fave, number 1 on your list? Sacrifices just to get here, I took all of the risk. Plan was to make it out, feed the fam and get rich. Try to stop me in my path, I'm with order. Ain't the type to have, put my all in this shit. These whack niggas always gotta hate. Stop hating and get your money up, baby. Eat them up and then I say grace after. No, that's not in the Bible, this a new chapter. Sorry, Lord, but these really think they matter. Takes a few steps to get on top of the ladder. See me, I done it all, still I would never fall. They ain't have, I'm the one that they call. Never judge, cause I know we all have our flaws. But don't you ever try to play me, we gon' go to war. Hood mommy still a classy. Work hard, yeah, I be on my everything coming to me, I deserve that. Keep it cute, but you know I'm still a nasty. Hood mommy still a classy. Work hard, yeah, I be on my everything coming to me, I deserve that. Keep it cute, but you know I'm still a nasty.
What's going on, y'all? And that was another episode of Crash the Industry. And I want to say thank everybody for coming up. You just killed that. Appreciate you. Thank you for coming up.
Thank you for
my
having us,
brother.
my brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
And go get your book. Go get your book. Here we go. Which one we on? Right there. That's it. Amazon. My brother.
Thank you, sir.
This is hip hop.